What's up, YouTube? HeyC494 here, and right now I want to talk to you guys about some things that I've recently discovered. I hope you dudes are doing alright. I really do. I've been a little bit stressed out here lately. I've been doing one thing after another. I've been shooting back-to-back matches. I've been working with a couple of companies trying to get some things finalized. I've been working on my rifle chambering and some of the things that have happened with that. I was on the Sling and Lead podcast on the Lead Sling and Gingers sub channel with Kent Hauer of Green Mountain Defense and TJ Ramsey. Awesome dudes. You should super duper watch their stuff on YouTube. They're a lot better at stuff than me. They have better content and such. So actually, I don't even know why you guys are watching me in the first place. But whew. And then I had to go play Army. Speaking of going and doing Army stuff, let me make myself a drink. Alright. So, a couple of things that I want to talk to y'all about. One is I was having some issues with my load development for my 6.5 Grindle for this guy. And load development, whenever you're doing it, sometimes you'll just have something go wrong whenever you're doing load development, and you cannot figure out why you went from shooting bug hole groups to 1.5 inch groups. And I'm not saying that 1.5 inch groups are bad, especially out of a gas gun. Out of a gas gun, I say 1.5 inch groups are awesome. But whenever you've come to expect a certain level of precision, and then all of a sudden that level of precision is kind of stripped away from you, then you sort of go, oh, that kind of sucks. So, I was having some issues with my hand loads, as you guys are going to see. I'm kind of changing the order that I do my videos in. I'm going to do my seated portions at the beginning, and any of the shooting things I'm going to do at the end of the video, because I've found that people more or less want to know what the content of the video is here at the beginning, right here, right now, and then they might or might not watch the actual shoot portion because I just kind of go over it at this part right here. And there's a lot of stuff that you don't really see whenever somebody is shooting, whenever they do a video like that, that is the more important part of the video, and you just can't really see it, kind of thing. So that's what this part's for. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I was having some issues with my hand loads with for a 6.5 Grindle. I went from shooting, bug hole groups to 1.5 inch groups pretty regular, and I was like, it's not bad, but it's not really good either. And I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So I looked through some of my notes, and I watched some of my older videos, and I realized that my seating depth was wrong. I thought that I was loading my Grindle ammo up to 2.26 max mag, but really I was loading at 2.245. Which is what it says in the Hornady manual. That's what it says in the Hornady manual, and that's what I was going off of whenever I first started hand loading for it. So, So, I played with some seating depth. I did a few other things, whatever. Played with some powder charges because I was trying to figure out what it was. I was just trying to, figure out what happened. I finally figured out it was seating depth. So, that being said, I've got some targets I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to talk about what those targets mean to me. I've got some video about me shooting said targets. This has already gone on too long. Alright, content of this video. What I'm going to talk about in this video is what I found with my seating depth. And, like I said, I thought it was 2.26, but it was actually 2.245, and what I had found with that, doing a test of seating depth today. And the other thing was I did a test. So here's what prompted this test. I have a lot of friends in the shooting community, a lot of good people, really smart people, way smarter than myself, and I've heard both sides of this argument. I've heard that either annealing your brass is not important, you don't have to do it, Or I've heard it's vastly important if you want to get consistent neck tension. So these are coming from the same groups of people. These are from the same kind of people. They're all competitive shooters. They're all people whose opinions I value greatly. So what do? You do the test yourself. I can't pick a side here, so I'm just going to do it myself because I have the means to do so. A lot of the people's argument for not annealing brass is, well, Brian Litz said it wasn't important. But is that what Brian Litz said? In Modern Advancement in Long Range Shooting, Volume 2 by Brian Litz, page 145, the last paragraph, it says, "The following describes our experience with annealing and its effects on muzzle velocity consistency." That's it. Later on in this chapter, it goes on to say that they want to do more testing with annealing. All that test was about was muzzle velocity consistency, or your standard deviations. That's it. It had nothing to do with, your neck tension and all that other stuff. It was just about your muzzle velocity consistency. So, now that you guys have this precursor and this prompting to this, here's the way that I conducted this test. Alright, so let's talk about the test. I ordered 500 rounds of Hornady Black 123 grain ELDMs. I ordered that ammo and I shot all of that ammo through that gun. I took that brass, threw it all in a box, took 200 of those pieces of brass and put them in a box. So now I've got a box with 200 pieces of brass in it. I took those 200 pieces of brass and I put them in my tumbler. I tumbled them, took them out of the tumbler, and then I put 100 pieces of brass in this box and 100 pieces of brass in this box. I took the first 100 and I annealed them all. So I annealed all those pieces of brass, and then the other pieces I just left alone. I didn't anneal them, is what I'm saying. Then I set up my de-priming full-length resizing die, set it up, and I ran all the pieces of brass through, all the annealed brass and all the unannealed brass. And then I hand-primed all of them because I am going to shoot them all. And then after I did that, I measured the diameter of the case mouth on every single piece of brass. So measured 200 pieces of brass and wrote down the numbers that I got. On all the annealed brass, I was measuring 0.287, 0.287, 0.287, 0.287. High or low, I only went a half a thousandth high or low on the annealed brass. So that means that I only had 1,000th of deviation in the annealed brass. But then I took the 100 pieces of unannealed brass and measured the case mouth on all of those. Measured the outside diameter of all of those. And I got numbers between 0.286. It was weird to have one of those. At a 0.286 to, I had 0.006 different. I'm not going to do the math right now. I've been drinking. So anyway, I had 0.006 of deviation in the unannealed brass. So, in my opinion, I'm going to say that annealing your brass is important for neck tension. So, I mean, if you want to listen to whomever you want to listen to, you go right ahead. If you want to keep harping on saying that Brian Litz said this, no, he didn't. He did not say what you think he said. He said something completely different. Actually read it before you start talking about what you think he said. All right, so now let's go into my results. All right, so let's take a look at my target from a couple weeks ago. All right. All kinds of mumbo jumbo going on right here, right guys? Yes, sir. All kinds of crazy shenanigans going on here. Well, it's really not that complicated whenever you take notes. I take a lot of notes whenever I'm at the range. I write down whenever I pull shots, what direction I pull them. I write down what the temperature is. I write down how I feel that day, you know, like if I'm fatigued and stuff like that, what my diet has been lately, stuff like that. Sometimes, whenever I feel like writing all that shit down. All right, so here's what we had going on here. So I fired a 5-shot group using 120 grain ELD M's. That was like my old pet load, sort of. And I had them loaded up to 2.26. And I shot this group right here. And based off of that group is what I made my adjustments off of. So shot that 5-shot group right there with the 120 grain ELD M's. It was a 1.35. And that includes that one little guy that went way over here. Now, if I exclude that one little guy, it's a 0.8 inch group, but we count that one too. So I took that group and made my adjustments based off of that. The next thing I did was I fired this group right here with 27.7 grains of AR comp and an ELD 123. And it was a 1.05 inch group. So that's a respectable group. Not what I'm used to out of that gun, but respectable. And then I went over here and shot a 27.7 with the SSTs, not the ELD. Basically, this test was SSTs versus ELDs, using the same powder charges and stuff like that. And I shot a 1.15 with that one. If you subtract that flyer, it's a 0.9. It's a 0.9 inch group if you take away that flyer, but we don't take away that flyer. The group is a 1.15. Then I shot a 5-shot group using the 28 grains of AR comp with the ELDs, and I shot this group right here, which is a 1.55, and if you subtract that flyer, it's a 0.75, these guys right here. And then over here with the SSTs and 28 grains of AR comp, I got a 1.4 inch group and a 0.75 again, if you take away one shot. So then I wanted to chrono those loads. So I slapped my magneto speed on the end of the gun, and with 27.7 grains out of the SSTs, 3 shots, the average was 2486. With the 28 grains of AR comp and the SST, it was 2517. With 28 grains in the ELD, it was 2537. And with 27.7 grains and the ELD, it was 2510, and also a very respectable group with my magneto speed attached. So then I just had, you know, because I loaded up 10 of each, I had 2 rounds of each left over, so I wanted to see how close to my point of aim I could get with 2 shots. So with the 27.7 ELD, my point of aim was the junction right here at the top. And then with the 27.7 SST, it was right here. With the 28 grains of AR comp and the SSTs, I went right there. This was my point of aim. And with the 28 grains of AR comp and the ELDs, I went right here. So that target looked like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, but there was just a whole lot of information going on right there. So that was a target from a couple weeks ago. None of those groups are awful. Not a single one of those groups is just terrible. But, like I had said before, that's not what I'm used to. So I went back to the range this past weekend. Now, whenever I went this past weekend, my results were as such. Not so cluttered as the last target, but also not phenomenal either. Alright, so what's going on right here? What is going on right here? Alright, so this group up here is the 120 grain ELD 5-shot group. The 3 shots right here in the center, a 1.91 inch group, are Hornady Black. That group was a 1.32. Sorry I didn't mention that. There's 4 right there and then one little guy over here that ruins the rest of the group. That's my 120 grain ELDMs. This group right here was with 123 grain SSTs with 27.2 grains of AR comp, and it's a 1.4 inch group. This group down here is 27.5 grains of AR comp, and these are all SSTs, by the way, because it's close to hunting season, so I was working on a hunting load. 1.55, and that includes, you know, both of the guys that like ran away from the little ragged hole there. 1.55 inch group. This right here is another 120. So this is the 120 grain ELDMs right here. There's a 1.32, right, that group right there. Kind of sucks. This group right here is with 27.8 grains, and it was very interesting the way that this group strung the way it did. 1.85. This group right here is with 27.8 grains of AR comp. There's a 1.2. And this group right here is a 0.95, and that was with 27.5 grains. So, out of the tests that you guys have seen so far, 27.5 grains kind of seems like a winner. So I had a little bit of extra 27.5 because I knew it worked last year for me. So I really bared down hard and shot the best group I possibly could with that load with 27.5 grains and the 123 grain SSTs. And I got this right here, a 0.85 inch group. So again, not great, but also not awful. I went out to the range today and I shot, I think, 10 rounds of each with the 123 grain SSTs loaded at 2.26, 2.255, 2.25, and 2.245. And I had 10 rounds of each loaded up. And I shot group after group, like 5-round group after 5-round group after 5-round group. At the end of this video, I'll probably post pictures of what my groups looked like with the Range Buddy app that I'd used to measure those shot groups. And what you'll find is that this rifle does not like the ammo loaded at 2.26. My testing those days and my testing today has proven that it doesn't like that. It appears to like 2.255 or 2.245. I haven't run all the numbers yet, but I will here very soon. And yeah, so those are the results from my last few range visits. I'm going to show you guys the videos, or some of the videos that I made while I was out there. They're not super long, like me talking. And I've got videos from, or I've got pictures from my range visit today. So you guys are going to see that stuff. Enjoy.